Hello and welcome to the 1997 Hafren Rally, which as usual takes place in mid-Wales. It's midday on Saturday the 27th of September. The Parc Fermé is full of bikes and everyone is getting ready for the start, which is at 2 p.m. Yes, I did say it's Saturday, and one or two of you might be wondering, well, what's going on? This year the organisers have decided to spread the event over 2 days. There are a couple of reasons for this. The main one is that the organisers are hoping that in 2 days we might get one fine one. Those of you who came here last year, I'm sure, will remember the weather. The Sunday was a terrible day. As we take a look at some of these bikes, I'm afraid I do have some very sad news to report. Earlier this week, British Championship Enduro rider Adrian Nixon lost his life in a road accident. This news has really stunned everyone in mid-Wales and all those people connected with Enduros. Everyone knew Adrian and everyone liked him. He was such a popular person. Adrian was a very good friend of mine. He actually got me interested in motorbikes and filming Enduros. I wasn't too sure whether I would come today, but I'm sure Adrian would have wanted me to. Back to the Hafren Rally, and let's try and enjoy ourselves in memory of Adrian. The sponsors of the event are CCM, and with an entry of nearly 200, we've got over 20 riders on CCMs. That's a very good turnout. Well, to get our final instructions for the next 2 days, let's go over to one of the main organisers, Geraint Jones.
Just give you a rough idea of what's going to happen, and if you've got any questions, you've got to come and see me afterwards or shout them out, okay? But today we've got a 30-mile course and 40-mile tomorrow. You'll do 2 laps today, okay? You'll go through 3 special tests. Each lap, the first lap won't be timed, so you just view the first lap, but you'll be held up and you'll be let onto the test in the correct order, all being well, which is at 20-second intervals. Second lap, the 3 tests will be timed. Alright? The times on there are the times that you're allowed to go between each test. You should have worked them out and you need them on a piece of card or something as a guide for you, really. If you're late at a test, it's not a problem. You'll just be let onto the test and you'll be given a new start time. There's no...
I remember last year quite a few people were late because of the weather.
Or on this course, because it's pretty easy today, it's dry. Remember that there can be walkers, cars, anything. The army have got a bit of a do-on up on the top there, so you could meet people anywhere really on the course. The tests are the only place where we've made special effort to make sure that you're not going to meet anything. So the rest of the course you've got to ride with other people in mind, really. Okay? There are footpaths and stuff. There's little signs to tell you where they are, so you know. Because there's no need for you to be going around the woods at 60, 70 mile an hour. You can do that on the test, but the rest of the course you should be able to tootle along at 30 mile an hour and be alright.
There will be a couple of people on some of the special stages. The photographer and myself. Please don't run us over.
You'll be allowed an extra 10 minutes on the last control coming in here. It's been allowed there on that time. For you to fuel your bikes, prep them up and put them into Parc Fermé for tomorrow. It'll be in between those buildings there. And there'll be somebody keeping an eye on them overnight.
What's the time difference between the first lap and the second lap?
The time difference?
I mean, have you got time to refuel in between laps?
It's included
That's
in that
included
time.
in that.
There should be. You should have enough time. You aren't going to be able. You're not going to be able to hang about.
Right.
But you should have enough time.
Right.
You know, there's
More time than last year.
Pardon?
More time than last year.
There's not. There isn't more time in between than last year, but the weather's a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a problem. I'd be amazed if it is.
It seems as though we're in a different world this year.
No.
Yeah, is there somewhere secure? Do you need trainers?
Somewhere too.
Is there somewhere secure? Do you need trainers?
Well, the only place you can leave them here. That's all I can say. You know, you can leave them here, tie them to something. It's very unusual to get anything from this area. You know, but it's only the people that have come in maybe that want to take them away. I'd go as far as to say you could leave a trailer here normally for 12 months and it would still be here in 12 months' time.
That's true, because there's a couple of caravans here and they're on wheels, but they've been here for about 3 years now. So we've had our final instructions. It's all very straightforward. About 3 hours of riding today. That's 2 laps of the course, and the first rider leaves here at 1 minute past 2. Number 1 was here a moment ago, but I think he's having a bit of trouble starting the bike. Everyone's getting ready now for this start, and they will be going at 20-second intervals. Number 2 is Steve Haig riding a KTM 640. What a machine that is. As I said earlier, we've got nearly 200 riders. They start at 20-second intervals, so the last rider will leave here at about 7 minutes past 3. And if all goes well, he should finish at about 7 minutes past 6, somewhere around there. John Edmonds is the official starter, and away goes Steve Haig. Number 3 on the line, that's John Hall. Well, he's not quite on the line. He hasn't started the bike yet. Number 6 is Alan Parry on a Suzuki DR. Trevor Poynting also on a Suzuki DR. He's number 5. Well, now we've moved into the course a little bit. This is part of the Supercross course here at Sweet Lamb, and this is part of the first stage. Remember, the riders are not timed on this first lap, so they won't be going too quickly. They'll be looking for the best line so they can clock up a good time on the next lap. Number 9 there, that's Paul Bean, and I think he's on a CCM. John Perk, number 10, in the 250cc trail bike class. He's on a Yamaha. And number 11 is one of the Army riders, Sean Skinner, on a Yamaha 600. Now, he rode that bike at the Epint Enduro. That was a few weeks ago. The weather wasn't very good at that Epint Enduro, and Sean's bike didn't like the rain. Number 12, that's Gavin Hogben, another Army rider, and he's on a Harley Davidson. Gwyn Barraclough, also riding a Harley Davidson. Now, these last 3 riders are in the 4GS Regiment RLC team. I'm going to move through this first stage with the riders. Number 14 there, Jeffrey Ward. He's on the KTM 350 and in the sports bike class. That looked like a Kawasaki. Most of the going this weekend is on farm and forest roads, but there is some green tracks and 1 or 2 muddy places. 17. That was Michael Crane, and number 18 is Martin Wilkes. And I think those are a couple of marshals. I'm afraid I'm a bit limited today with information. I've got a list of the riders, what class they're in and what bikes they're on, but I don't know where they come from. Number 20, that's Raymond Highland, and he's on a Kawasaki 125. Number 21 is Ian Ford on a KDX, so he's in the 250cc trail bike class. And just behind him was number 22, Alan Wibberley on the Suzuki DR. Number 1, Alex Marr, a little bit late away. That doesn't matter though, he's in the sports bike class. Number 23, Ross Hayward on a Yamaha XT fitted with indicators. Someone doing a wheelie for us early in the day, it's Mark Hooson. And that's Mark's teammate, Richard Vickers. I think they must have got a late entry because they weren't down in my original program. Philip Sharp on a Suzuki DR. That's quite a popular bike because there goes another one. Another Suzuki rider, John Brown on an RMX. Kevin Marshall in the 250 trail bike class. Steve Ebersfield riding a Honda CRM. Jonathan Moore in the open sports bike class. He's on a Honda 400. I'm sure you'll all be pleased to know that the forecast for this weekend is good. Number 32 there, that's Barry Pope. Ian Jones from Watford, he was at the Cambrian Rally earlier this year, likes to ride Enduros too. Oh, Ian's taken a detour. I know he likes Enduros, but he hasn't got to go off the track. 35. That's Duncan MacDonald. Just look at this machine. It's a big BMW ridden by David Brown. I see he's in the over 40s class. Neil Davis riding a Husky TE that puts him in the 350 sports bike class. Ian Vesey, now what was he riding? May have been a Honda. I must admit I don't really know how they sort out these classes. That's Stephen Preston. I thought he was going to wander off course then. Mark Tailforth, number 40, and who's behind him? Number 41, that's Richard Leng. Now that's a Kawasaki. If it had been an enduro bike, I'd have said it had been a TM. Roger Withington trying to do a wheelie then. We've moved a little bit further into stage 1. That was someone on a Suzuki. 47. Nick Fishlock, I know I've seen him before somewhere. Anthony Finch, now those last 3 riders are in the Alvin team. Andrew Beasley on a KLX 650. I'll bet he'll fly through here on the next lap. That sounded like a 125. It could have been Trevor Petrie on an Aprilia 125. Oh, I recognise this chap though. It's Graham Young, and look at the bike he's on. A great big BMW. 1050 cc's there. Mike Pollard on a KLX 650, and just behind him Neil Ashton. Wait for it, there is someone coming up the hill. Graham Lawson on a Honda XR. Steve Barrett on a Husky Trailmaster, he's number 56. Tony Allen, I think he's on a Honda 600. And 58 to Adrian Pope, also on a Honda. Well, that's what it says in my program. A yellow machine, at a guess, I'll say it's a Suzuki, ridden by Peter Windsor. Martin Wareham riding a CCM C26. Those bikes do sound nice. Someone on a Honda, there's only a number on the front of the bike, so it's a bit difficult to read at times. That was Brian Lamack, number 63. And was that another Honda? In Enduros, if I don't know the make of a bike, I just say it's a Yamaha. That's the most popular machine this year. Number 67, that's Brian Elland. He'll be one of the favourites to win this weekend. Well, he's one of a few riders who'll be taking it seriously. Most people are just out to enjoy themselves. 68. Was that Stephen Laverty? I think he's one of the Glasgow Rangers. 69, another from Glasgow, Stephen Clark. James Harley in the Glasgow XR's team, but he's on a Suzuki DR. I've moved on again, and by doing that I have missed 1 or 2 riders going through. Now this is part of the course where I lost my umbrella last year. Those of you who saw the film will remember seeing it blowing away. Number 82, that's Norman Headley. Oh, good gracious, what's that chap doing down there? I think it's number 81, Graham Forwell. That track above him isn't part of the course. I don't know what he's doing in the hole, though. Well, that other rider's going to have a look. The next rider comes through, and he has a look to see that everything's okay. It was number 85, Philip Nottingham. I wonder, are those two down there looking for my umbrella? There is a small reward, but it must be handed back in good condition. I think that rider must have come down the wrong track and dropped into that hole.
89.
That was Graham Grubb. And that looked like number 66, Hugh Lacey. Number 88, Leslie Beach. In my program, it says he's on a Kawasaki. Oh, I don't think it was. Now, this next rider has come on the wrong part of the course. The tapes may be down somewhere. It's Peter Miles. That was a blue machine. Over there, I think, is where one or two of the riders are going wrong. This chap shouldn't be coming down the road. He should have turned to his right. He's now back on course, but he has taken a shortcut. It's Tony Hughes on a CCM 604. Which way will the next rider go? Oh, straight down the track, and he should have turned to the right. The tapes are down, though. That's the problem. Number 96, that's Richard Buick. I don't know who the other one was. The yellow bike, I'm sure, is a CCM, and is it ridden by Austin Clues? Well, just behind him, Alistair Adamson. A couple of marshals going through. And here's Graham Forwell, the rider who disappeared off the track. 101, Adrian Lappin in the CCM A team. Dave Crasher Cornish on a CCM Raider. That looks a nice bike. I'm moving on again. Jimmy Aid in the open sports bike class. He's on a CCM, a 604E. How did I get in front of Dave Cornish? And here comes Graham Forwell. I think that slight detour he took earlier might have shaken him up a bit. Oh, he's gone down again. He's all right, he's getting back up, so I think Gary Hawthorne can carry on. It looks as though Graham has lost a bit of plastic off the handlebars. If that bit of plastic is over there, Graham, I'll pick it up for you.
.108.
Gary Rushton on a Suzuki DR. Philip Gunn from Watergrass Hill, he's in the Smack team. And another member of that team, Rory O'Shochain. I'll bet I haven't said that name right. I suppose after a few pints this evening I could get it right. 109, Simon Horswell. Craig Dodd, I'm fairly sure he rode the Cambrian Rally. I don't know, did he ride the Welsh 2-day as well? And here's that second member of the Dodd family, Grenville. Over from Ireland, Liam Flanagan on the Aprilia Pegaso. He's in the Smack team. I wonder what Smack stands for. Cameron Ward in the 250 trail bike class. That was a Suzuki. Neil Stittle on a Honda XR. I was filming at this spot last year. It was one of those places where I couldn't stand up. That's Neil Thompson, number 119. 121. Was it Gareth Williams? Ian Lynch in the Lost Cherries team. I believe this team has got some lady supporters here this weekend. A Marshall escorting number 104, that's Andy Ibbott. I thought he was riding a Suzuki, but it's a CCM Raider. The colour put me off a bit. Another of the Lost Cherries, Richard Hughes, and just behind him, the third member of the team, Peter Housley. Chris Pierce riding a Suzuki DR, that was number 125. Paul Lard, number 126, also on a Suzuki. I think those two are together. John Hughes coming down this rather rough track. I think he was on a Kawasaki KLR. Well, that's what it says in my program. 129, Julian Chisholm on a Yamaha TTR 250. Alan Thomas in the 250 trail bike class. Paul Hartley. Remember, the riders are starting at 20-second intervals and they all seem to be coming through in the right order. Now, who was that? I think it might have been Kevin Thomas, number 134. It's a big machine. Charlie Beach with a number on the side of the bike as well. That'll be a great help. Is this David Stacey, number 135? I told you earlier that the riders today will be doing 2 laps of the course. That's about 3 hours. So the first rider will be back on this stage at about 3:30. That was Ted Scott, followed by Russell Tyner. I'm fairly sure Russell was at the Cambrian Rally and could have been here 12 months ago. 131, a lady rider, Jane Murphy. This bit of the course is most probably as tricky as anything the riders will see today. Oh, she's just been passed by number 140, Richard Fair. Roger Dawson in the TBEC team. The second member of that team, Roger Johnson. Now some of the Army riders, 144, that's Paul Hodgkins, followed by Arthur Laverty. 143, Owen Hill, I think he's in that team with Roger Johnson and Roger Dawson. Ian McKinnon riding a KLX 250. Gary Tanner on a Suzuki DR and riding in the DSTB team, whatever that is. Oh, there's that bit of plastic. Well, I'm going to pick it up and put it in my pocket. Now we've got a stream of riders led by 151, Tudor Lewis from Lambrin Mire. He's followed by Martin Smith, number 149. Of course, he's in one of the services teams. 147, that was Roger Sinclair. 148, Stanley Taylor. Those last two were in the DSTB team. 153 is Ewan Kohler. Gerald Tyres, I know I've seen him before. Was it at the Cambrian Rally or this event last year? If it was 12 months ago, I surely saw him but didn't recognize him. Rod White on a Husky 610. The ground is just a bit spongy here.
156.
Andrew McDonald on a Yamaha. This looks like a Honda, number 160, ridden by David Lewis. He's turning on the power, ready for the next lap. Lady rider Trudy Sylvie, we see her at Enduros, so this will be a bit of a dawdle. Trevor Townsend on the Husaberg, he was just a little bit late, so might have been looking for my umbrella.
58, 161, 162.
Ian Saunders, Mark Enso and Tom Clark. 157, that's John McDonald. Must be related to Andrew. John is riding a Honda TLR 200. .163, that's Neil Arnold on a KLX 250, followed by Paul Carman. Phil Wilkinson riding for the Crucken Knowns, and here's the second member of that team, Katrina Price. Katrina is riding an Armstrong 500. As far as I can gather, it's driven by a big elastic band. Well, in one event, the belt broke. I think it was at the Cambrian Rally, and she had to retire. 168, Stephen Humphrey. Keith Bethel riding a Honda 250. He's turned out well. He's got a matching jacket. The next rider, number 170, I'm sure you all know him. It's Graham Noyce. He was top motocrosser back in the 80s. He was a world champion, wasn't he? It's just a little bit before my time, really. I didn't get involved with motorbikes until about 1987. 171, that's John Taylor. Ron Willis next, he's number 172, and the third rider, Martin Birch, he's on a Husaberg. Mike Burke put in the mud to fly. About 20 more riders to come, I would think. Andy Baxter has got the headlight on. He's followed by 176, that's Alan Woolger. Ian Stevens riding a Can-Am. Do you remember a couple of minutes ago, a rider went through in a Honda and I said he'd got a smart matching outfit. I think it'd be a good idea if there was a prize for the best turned out bike and rider, a bit like horse racing. This chap has had a bit of trouble starting his bike. It looks like number 179, Thomas Walmsley. Don't stall it next time, Tom. Malcolm Ferber, I've seen him before, might have been at the Cambrian Rally.
181.
Andy Pulleen in a bit of a hurry. Was that Michael Wardle, number 182?
Honda XR.
It could be Bill Forsyth. bit of a race on now between these two. Brian Burns followed by Paul Blezard. 184, that's Chris Lee. 186 is Phil Hodges. And there goes Gail Lucas. Gail is riding a KMX 200. She was here 12 months ago. Had trouble lighting her cigarettes that day. "193 is John Shaw. It's the last number in the program, and he's riding a Suzuki RMX 250. He's going pretty quickly.
189.
Gary O'Rourke in the 125 trail bike class. He's on a KDX. Wait for it, there is someone coming. 191, Richard Fincher, the official representative for Bike Magazine. And I think he is the last rider going through here. He's got about 100 yards to go to get into the Hafren forest. I can't go that way in the car, so it's about a 10-mile journey for me. And we've arrived here at last, and the riders should be coming down the road over there in the distance. But here's the first rider we see, and it's number 140. That's Richard Fair. Let me explain. These riders are on part of the course after stage 3. I don't know who those two were, but they shouldn't have gone down the road. 144, that was Paul Hodgkins. Sounds as though the services riders are coming through. They all look very much the same. That chap has just missed the turning. I think it was Stanley Taylor. Quite a few riders went the wrong way then. Was that 147, Roger Sinclair?
155.
Ewan Kohler. 154, no, that was Gerald Tyres. Rod White on his way back to the finish. Just behind him, number 160, David Lewis, in quite a hurry. Mark Ensor, followed by Tom Clark, and who's the third one? I'm sure it's Trudy Sylvie. Hang on, Trudy. Did anyone see those numbers?
58.
That may have been Ian Saunders. Phil Wilkinson, he was at the Natterjack Enduro last weekend. Found that a bit tiring. And there goes Katrina. She was also at the Natterjack.
156.
Andrew McDonald on the Yamaha.
It's 10-4.
So the early riders have been going for about an hour and 50 minutes. 170, Graham Noyce. Remember, he was a top motocross rider. World champion back in the 80s. Stephen Humphrey riding a CRM 250. Two more Honda riders coming through, Keith Bethel and John McDonald. They'd both be in for the prize, the best turned out bike and rider. Martin Birch coming along this forest track. He's on a Husaberg. Andy Baxter, and who's behind him? It's Alan Woolger on a Honda 400. Those of you who saw the film last year might remember this part of the course, although it was much wetter then. That was John Taylor. Mike Burke leading the way for Ian Stevens. They're both in the open sports bike class. Ian's number plate looks a bit loose. Suzuki rider Tom Walmsley.
178.
Malcolm Ferber on a Suzuki DR 200. Bill Forsyth, followed by Andy Pulleen, and the next one, 182, that's Martin Wardle. They're all in the White Cross Bay team. 180 was Kevin Moore. Oh, I missed the next number, and that looks like a Marshall. Chris Lee from South Wales.
Hey!
And here's Phil Hodges. Phil is riding a Kawasaki KLR 600. Gail Lucas, I wonder has she had time to stop for a cigarette? Last year her chain came off on one of the stages. It was just an excuse to have a fag.
Flat front tire!
Paul Blezard shouting that he's got a flat front wheel. Brian Burns on a CCM C26. 193 John Shaw. Gary O'Rourke, not many more to come now. I think this is the last rider coming through, Richard Fincher, so I'm going to move now to stage 3. That's the start of stage 3 over there, and I've got here before any of the riders have come around on their second lap. Remember, they will be timed on this one. We've got a few minutes in hand. The first rider is due here at 4:19. It shouldn't be this chap. It's number 105.
Went the wrong way and missed the stage to finish.
That was Jimmy Aid, who'd taken a detour from stage 1 and ended up at stage 3. Well, this chap should be here. It's Steve Haig. He's got 4 minutes in hand, so he can have a little break. Remember, this is the third stage on the circuit, and today the riders do only 2 laps of the course, so they're timed on each stage once. Well, here's the first rider coming on this third stage, number 1, Alex Marr. A couple of riders are here having a look at this stage. I recognise one of them. It's Sean Skinner.
There.
And here comes Steve Haig on that big KTM. I've got some times for the earlier stages. He did a 9:24 on stage 1 and 3 minutes 39 on stage 2.
You're taking this too seriously, you chaps, you know?
What?
You're taking it far too seriously.
Yeah. Right, have a really clean teammates.
Here comes number 3, John Hall, and he hasn't been going quite as quick as Steve Haig. I shall give you some of the times as we go along, but remember, some people take this event much more seriously than others, so don't read too much into these test times. That was number 4, Andy Whitehead. He was under 10 minutes on the first stage. Now, that was a good time. Number 5, Trevor Poynting. Alan Parry riding a rather old Suzuki. It took him just over 11.5 minutes on the first stage. Martin Gillard in the trail bike class. Paul Brown riding in the Baywatch Rejects team. Oh, he's done a couple of good times this morning. 10 minutes 32 and 4 minutes 12. Another reject from Baywatch, Paul Bean. Times of 10:07 and 3 minutes 53. And here's the third reject, John Perk. Not quite as quick as the other two. That was Sean Skinner, and after 2 stages, he's leading the open trail bike class. Gavin Hogbin on the Harley Davidson, 5th in his class on stage 1, but over a minute down on Sean Skinner. Sean must have been going quickly there. Gwyn Barraclough in the open trail class, third on stage 1 and fifth on stage 2. It's gone rather quiet. That's Jeff Ward over there, and I think he dropped the bike on the corner. Sean Skinner's time of 9:04 on that first stage was very quick. I think anyone coming through there in under 10 minutes, doing very well, or perhaps going too fast. I think Jeff's having trouble finding neutral. Oh, he's going again. Just behind Jeff, number 16, John Whiting, 10:06 on the first stage, but quick on the second one, 3 minutes 32. As you can see, most of the numbers are in the right sequence as they come through. Well, I got it wrong there, because that was number 15, Archie Henderson. Well, he's only one place out. It does mean that the times today are not too difficult. Number 17, Michael Crane. It took him 13 minutes on the first stage. He wanted to take in the view, I suppose. Now, Sean Skinner wouldn't have seen any of that. Raymond Highland in the 125s, just over 11 minutes on stage 1. Ian Ford, he's in the 250s, just under 11 minutes on the first stage. Alan Wibberley, can't find any results for him at the moment. Ross Hayward in the same class as Alan. Oh, I found Alan's results now, and he was a bit quicker than Ross on both stages. That was Mark Hooson. He's been quick earlier, 9 minutes 20 on stage 1. And here's his teammate, Richard Vickers. Philip Sharp in the 350 sports bike class. Steve Fletcher, just over 10 minutes on that first stage. John Brown in the 250 trail class, quite quick on stage 2. That's what's called the Rocky Road, and he went round there in under 4 minutes. Kevin Marshall, I wonder what happened to him on stage 2. Supposed to have had a time of about 24 minutes. Steve Eversfield on the Honda. Jonathan Moore in the open sports class, under 4 minutes on stage 2, and that's quite a good time. Well, we're back at the start of stage 3, and that's Ian Jones, who's just started. We'll just see a couple more riders through here, and then I want to go to the end of stage 3. It's back along the road for me. Number 51, Trevor Petrie, coming into the start of stage 3. Number 50. That was Andrew Beasley. We'll go to the end of the stage now. That was good timing. We saw Ian Jones starting, and he's just finished. His time 3 minutes 39. David Brown on the BMW. He's 6 seconds down on Ian Jones. That's Stephen Preston going very quick today. 9 minutes 49 on the first stage. 3:36 on stage 2. Richard Leng cornering well. He's going even quicker than Preston. That's number 40, Mark Tailforth. Roger Withington looking very quick, but what happened to him on the first stage? It was over 24 minutes. And then he went and won stage 2. I wonder, has he found my umbrella? That was Frank Withington on a 125 and doing some very impressive times. Number 42, John Hewitson. Mark Roach in the Alvin team. Number 37, Neil Davis, should have gone through a minute or two ago. Has he made a mistake on this stage, I wonder? Anthony Finch, not quite as quick as his teammate Mark Roach. There's not much in it, though, only a few seconds. And the third member of the Alvin team, Nick Fishlock. That's a 125 ridden by Trevor Petrie. He's won both stages in the class. Neil Ashton trying to get some balance against the bank. And oh, who's coming through? It's Mike Pollard. And the third one, Graham Young on the big BMW.
Right front!
I'm sure he means it too. Graham's time on the first stage, just under 13 minutes. Perhaps one of the cylinders isn't working. Number 57, oh, he's got a loose headlamp. It's Tony Allen. Graham Lawson in the open sports class, taking it steady, but I'm sure he's enjoying himself. Steve Barrett riding the Husky Trailmaster, a bit slow on the first stage, over 13 minutes. Now a race on between Adrian Pope and Peter Windsor. Adrian's lost his balance. Don't worry, Adrian, we know who the other rider is, number 59, if you want to have a word with him afterwards. If you talk to him nicely, he might buy you a beer tonight. Adrian had done a couple of good times before this stage, 9 minutes 53 and then a 3 minutes 45. Martin Wareham on the CCM, 10:01 on the first stage, 3 minutes 42 on the rocky road. That's number 61, Roger Preston. 62, Mike Watkins, quick on the second stage, 3 minutes 34. Ian Musgrove, the fastest rider on stage 1, 8 minutes 58. Number 64, Alan Angold. Hugh Lacey has just dropped his Honda on the corner. He's been quick on the earlier stages, 9 minutes 20 on the first one. Number 63, Brian Lamack in the open sports class. And who's the next one? It's Stephen Laverty, one of the Glasgow XRs. He's in the open sports bike class. There should be a few of the Glasgow Rangers coming through now. Here's number 70, James Harley. Second fastest in the T350 class. Well, he was third on the first stage, 9:57. Fifth on the second with a time of 3 minutes 54. Gary Burns, also from Glasgow, not quite as quick as some of his teammates, over 11 minutes on the first stage. Mark Simmons, he beat Gary on stage 1 by about 20 seconds, but then Gary was quicker on stage 2. Alan Walker, also from Glasgow, a bit slow on the first stage, over 13 minutes. This rider's in a hurry, it's Sam Wilson. He's riding for the Cheltenham Home Guard. Oh, a bit of a disaster on the corner up there. Number 77, Steve Venn in the Cheltenham Home Guard. Was that 78, Mark Kirby? 74, oh, that's Graham Smith. And the rider who dropped his bike on the corner, I think is number 69, Stephen Clark. Ian Bryceland coming next. He's in the 250 trail bike class. I don't know who that was. Can Stephen start this bike, I wonder? Norman Headley going at an enjoyable pace today. Ian Arnold, he did a good time on stage 2, 3 minutes 51. Has anyone lost a number plate? 85, that was Philip Nottingham. The next rider, Paul Bates. '87, Stephen Sharp, his time's 10 minutes 43 and 3 minutes 48. Number 88, Leslie Beach. Was that number 89? His number plate looks a bit loose. Number 90, Peter Miles. And on the Big Yam Tenere, Stephen Marsden. His time's 10:32 and 4:21. That wouldn't be the easiest of bikes to handle, certainly on stage 2. That was 92, I think, Tony Hughes. I think the engine stopped for a moment then. 93, Jonathan Willis. That sounded like a CCM. And another one. 99. Robert Bentham, he was equal second on stage 1, just over 9 minutes. And that was Nick Craigie. Nick has done a fast time on stage 2, 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Vinnie Fitzsimmons only 2 seconds down on Craigie on the second stage. Number 67, Brian Elland. What happened to him on stage 1? He was there for 19 minutes. And here comes Jimmy Aid, the rider who got to stage 3 before he finished stage 1. 5. Wasn't he a well-known motocrosser? 104, that was Andy Ibbott. Gary Hawthorne, up there with the leaders, I would think. He's doing some good times today. Gary Rushton in the trail bike class, taking it just a little steadier. The first of the Irish riders, and in the smack team, Rory O'Shotchin, times of 9 minutes 43 and 3 minutes 56. .109, Simon Horswell, got the headlight on. 9. Phil Gunn in the smack team, and has he beaten his teammate? Oh yes, certainly on the second stage. Phil's time 3 minutes 20. Rory did a 3:56 there. 113, that was Craig Dodd. Liam Flanagan on the big Aprilia, and who's the next one? He's in a hurry. That was Grenville Dodd. It's quite close between Grenville and Craig. Grenville won the first stage, Craig won the second. Only a couple of seconds in it. Neil Stittle in the 350 sports class. Neil Thompson going well in that very strong open sports class. Steve Whitley, he's doing some good times. 9:18 on the first stage. 2-1. Gareth Williams. Ian Lynch riding for the Lost Cherries, and not a very fast time on the first stage. Over 13 minutes. 1-2-3. And that's his teammate, Peter Housley. Paul Paul Lard in the 350 trail class. He's going well. He won the second stage, 3:36. And that looks like a buzzard up there. That was just a short nature break. John Hughes in the 250 trail class. And another trail rider, Alan Thomas. Oh, he nearly got me then. You don't have to get too close, Alan. I have got a zoom lens. 129, Julian Chisholm. He's on a Yam 250. Paul Hartley being followed by number 132, Charlie Beach. Ted Scott in the 250s. He took it fairly steady on the rocky road, 4 minutes 29 seconds. I'm hoping to have a look at that stage tomorrow morning. That's quite an interesting stage. There's some puddles of water there. Oh, that was a big machine. Was it Kevin Thomas on the big Yamaha? 135, that's David Stacey. Russell Tyner in the 350 sports class, over 11 minutes on the first stage.
It's 5:05.
Another accurate time check. I bought a new watch yesterday. 140 is Paul Fair. Sorry, I got his first name wrong. It's Richard. Roger Johnson in quite a hurry. He's been doing some good times. 9:38 and 3 minutes 35. 139, that's Ian McKinnon. Oh, he stopped for a moment. He most probably wanted me to get a good shot of him. Owen Hill riding a Honda Degree. On the first lap I thought that was Paul Hodgkins, but apparently it's Chris Hyde. He's been going well.
4-5.
Arthur Laverty, I think he's leading the 350 trail class. 146, that's another services rider, Gary Tanner. Lady rider Jane Murphy being followed by Roger Sinclair. Roger manages to get past. I wonder, was he held up on stage one? His time there, 12 minutes 49. It wasn't your fault, Jane.
149.
Martin Smith, again not too fast on that first stage, 12 minutes 25. That was Stanley Taylor. Judah Lewis from Lambrin Meyer on the CCM, exactly 11 minutes on stage one. Trevor Townsend, he's done some good times, 10:04 and 3 minutes 34. Ewan Kohler in the 250 trail class.
What are you doing up here then?
Oh.
Come on, quick, there's another one coming.
That's our official photographer. He does get to the best spots. Andrew MacDonald, was he on film, I wonder? Rod White in the open sports class, a bit slow on the first stage, over 12 minutes. Andrew MacDonald, not sure what happened to him on stage one. I haven't got a result there yet. Could still be in the computer. Ian Saunders in the open trail class. That's David Lewis, and he's taken it far too seriously. Times of 10 minutes 12 and 3 minutes 53.
161.
Mark Ensor riding a Suzuki DR. Tom Clark, it's very close between him and Mark. Neil Arnold, he's a few seconds up on those last two.
157.
John MacDonald, I don't think he liked the second stage. He was there for nearly 8 minutes. There's a lot of water there. Oh, that's Katrina Price. She was second on stage 1, third on stage 2. That's in the open class. The Kraken Gnome, Phil Wilkinson. Stephen Murphy in the 250 trail class. I can hear another bike coming up the road. I think it might be Graham Noyce. 9 minutes 42 on the first stage, 3:21 on the second. He's going on this one, but can he get round the corner? That wasn't the best line. Another bike coming up the road. It's John Taylor, his times 10:21 and 4:11. Ron Willis, he may have lost his way on stage 1, over 13.5 minutes. Martin Birch, I think he's riding with Ron. They're doing about the same times. Andy Baxter on a Yamaha TTR. Mike Burke in the open sports class. Alan Woolger, number 176. And who was that flying past? I wonder, did our photographer get them both? That was Tom Walmsley.
77.
Ian Stevens, he's modified the Can-Am. And if anyone knows who that was, perhaps they could let me know before tomorrow morning. 180, Kevin Moore. Let's just take in the view before this next rider appears. Is it Andy Pulleen, number 181? Martin Wardle, I think he's in the White Cross Bay team. Bill Forsyth, oh, he's got the cameraman. Oh, that was close.
You're right there.
Yeah, a couple of you come fairly close. But,
We get all the action shots on this channel. Brian Burns, number 188. Paul Blezard, didn't he have a flat tyre earlier on? No, he's going well. 9 minutes 45 and 3 minutes 39. Richard Fincher having his photograph taken again. I think he's the official model for Bike Magazine. John Shaw, he's in the open sports class. Oh, a good time on stage 2, 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Here comes Chris Lee. He's not going to break any records today, but I think he'll go quicker tomorrow. I remember at the Cambrian Rally, he lost his bike. Well, he left it at a friend's place overnight, and then he couldn't find the house next day. That is a true story. I don't make them up. There goes Phil Hodges. I don't think Phil could find top gear on the first stage. 11:48. Sportsman rider Keith Bethel, running just a little bit late. He may have stopped for afternoon tea. And here's Trudy Sylvie.
I got a puncher! Oh no!
Trudy must have had that puncher early on this second lap. I don't think there are many more to come, but we haven't seen Gail Lucas. This is the end of the stage. And here comes our photographer. I don't think there is anyone else left.
He's been there a while, Gareth.
okay. You've not filmed me, have you?
One of the marshals coming through, so it's all clear, and that's about it for this first day. Don't forget tonight, though, because in the community centre in Llanidloes, there's a disco. Well, I think it's the community centre, but, well, just follow the arrows. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. So I shall see you tomorrow morning. Well, that's if you're not at the disco. It's early on Sunday morning. The start time today is 1 minute past 10. All of our riders will be doing 3 laps of the course, and the lap is a bit longer today. Well, over now to Geraint for some more instructions.
Side on the way back. Try not to knock the chicanes down. Been a bit of hassle yesterday with people, you know, not seeing the chicanes and seeing the marking. If you go wrong, always come back steady and see where you've gone wrong, you know. I saw one bloke go on this test yesterday. He went straight through a chicane at the Forest Road at the far end, on a little bit, joined the course, missed about 12 mile out and down to the next test. Obviously he's not going to get a very good result.
I wonder who that was. Did we see him?
Again, be careful. The army are in the forest there somewhere doing some sort of manoeuvres, so you've got to keep that in mind. The only places that you can go with balls out are on the test.
Yes, go careful. There were a few people walking around the forest yesterday. As I said, it's 3 laps of the course today. The lap is a bit longer, and I think there is a new stage for the riders to be timed on. That's the Parc Fermé. I wonder how you're going to get a bike out of the middle of that lot. Oh, I see. They come out this end. Well, that's it from the start. I've got to get into the Hafren forest now, and I've got here just in front of the riders because I've come up this road where there is 2-way traffic. We're going to have a look at part of the course which was stage 2 yesterday, the rocky road. Oh, the first riders are here. Number 2 was Steve Haig, followed by number 4, Andy Whitehead, and I think that was Sean Skinner. This was a time stage yesterday, but unfortunately for me, it's not being timed today. Number 13, that's Gwyn Barraclough. His time through here yesterday was 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Alex Marr, number 1. Gwyn Barraclough, who's just gone through, finished 2nd yesterday in the open trail class. The chap who beat him was Sean Skinner. Paul Brown, number 8, and Gavin Hogben. I see Gavin was 4th in his class yesterday. Martin Gillard in the 250 trail class. Around here yesterday, he took 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Number 6 was Alan Parry. I missed the next number. Oh, number 16 there. That's John Whiting. Is that number 3, John Hall? John Perk in the 250 trail class. The fastest man around this test yesterday was Nick Craigie in a time of 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Number 20, Raymond Highland. He's on a 125, went round here in 3 minutes 58. Alan Wibberley, 7th in the class. That was a little bit of trick photography.
28.
John Brown, followed by Richard Vickers. Ian Ford about halfway down the trail 250 class. 27. Steve Fletcher, he had a good time here yesterday, 3:39. That was Ross Hayward. Jeff Ward pacing himself this morning. I told you there were a few puddles of water on this stage. Sports rider Duncan MacDonald, 2nd in his class overnight. Kevin Marshall, followed by Barry Pope. And number 31, Jonathan Moore. Stage 1 today is the same stage as yesterday, and the riders are timed on laps 1 and 2. Richard Leng, very quick round here yesterday, 3 minutes 25. He's 2nd in his class. Ian Jones in the top 15 of the 250s. Number 17, Michael Crane, pacing himself for a long day. David Brown on the big BMW, lying 9th in his class. He's followed by Neil Davis, then it's number 38, Ian Vesey, Stephen Preston, and what's the last number there? Oh, it might be number 40, that would be Mark Tailforth. Frank Withington, second in the 125s. But there's the man who's leading Frank, it's Trevor Petrie. Number 46 is Mark Roach. He's on his way to stage 2, which is the one which was stage 3 yesterday. Remember we saw that. Nick Fishlock in the Alvin team, and here's the third member, that's Anthony Finch. 52, Mike Pollard. 53, Neil Ashton. I wonder, is there a set of traffic lights somewhere in this forest? Number 50, Andrew Beasley, about halfway down the open trail class. He's followed by number 58. Oh, that's Adrian Pope. 59. It was Peter Windsor. We didn't see much of him. Oh, I recognise this chap though. It's Graham Young. I don't think Graham liked this stage yesterday. He was here for over 5 minutes. There's a lot of water in places. That rider was in a hurry. Another of those puddles of water. Will Martin Wareham make a big splash? Oh, that was very steady. He didn't hang about yesterday. His time here, 3 minutes 42. Graham Lawson, followed by Ian Musgrove. Ian won the first stage yesterday with a time of 8:58, and this morning his time there, 8:45. I don't think I could have beaten that in my Subaru. Brian Elland out of the run in a bit because of a slow first stage yesterday. It was 19 minutes. This morning his time, 8:42. That was an incredible time. I think Brian's chain came off yesterday. Was that 69? The Glasgow Rangers now, number 70, that was James Harley. Oh, and that looked like 69, Stephen Clark. The one I got wrong could have been Stephen Lafferty. Roger Preston, number 61. Brian Lamack in the open sports class. The overnight leader in that class is Adrian Lappin, number 101. Mark Kirby, 6th overall in the open sports class, and he's the top rider in the Cheltenham Home Guard. Another member of the Cheltenham Home Guard, Corporal Jones. Oh no, Sam Wilson. This is Steve Venn. I think that Home Guard team could be well placed at the end of the day. Mark Simmons, followed by number 74, Graham Smith. I'll bet there was some splashing through these puddles yesterday. Now for the short break, another nature program. I wonder what bird that was. What a pity it's flown away. Well, here we are again, and we've got 3 of them now. I think they're finches. No, not Peter Finch. Back to the serious stuff. First of all, it's 10:55, and this is Ian Bryceland. Ian Arnold in the 350 trail class and in the top 10. Number 83, Matt Bailey. He's third in the 125s. 82, 85. Norman Headley, followed by Philip Nottingham, and then it's Graham Grubb. I think that was 87, Stephen Sharp. Was that a Suzuki DR, another yellow machine? That sounds like a CCM. Gary Burns, number 71. His time here yesterday, 4 minutes 16. Jimmy Aid in some sort of a hurry. Someone tell him he's not timed here. Yesterday on stage 1, 16 minutes. This morning, 8:58. Number 94, that's Martin Houghton. Vinnie Fitzsimmons, yesterday he was in the open sports class. Today he's in the 350s. He's on a CCM, I believe. Number 88, Leslie Beach. Oh, by the way, Vinny hasn't changed bikes. I think they got him in the wrong class yesterday. 106, that is Gary Harthen. Nick Craigie, he was the fastest sports bike rider on stage 2 yesterday. Andy Hibbert, number 104. Philip Gunn in the Smack team, 9:35 on stage 1 yesterday and 9:16 this morning. Gary Rushton, followed by Cameron Moore. And 113, that's Craig Dodd. Glenville Dodd, he beat Craig by 14 seconds yesterday. Neil Thompson, followed by Steve Whitley. 121, that's Gareth Williams. And 109 there, Simon Horswell. And number 81, remember we saw him yesterday, Graham Farwell. Well, I picked that piece of plastic up for him and left it at the start area. Ian Lynch, he's woke up this morning on the first stage yesterday. He was over 13 minutes. This morning, 10 minutes. Liam Flanagan on the big Aprilia. He's in the Smack team. Neil Stittle, number 115. Richard Hughes, one of the Lost Cherries, he's getting quicker today, nearly a minute faster on stage 1. 1, 2, 3. Another of the Lost Cherries, Peter Housley. Chris Pierce, he took 3 minutes and 55 seconds to go around here yesterday. 125. Julian Chisholm was just a bit slower than Chris. Julian's time, 4:01. That looks like 1:40, Richard Fair. Kevin Thomas on the Big Yam 660, a bit slower on stage 1 this morning. Perhaps he stayed at the disco too long last night. 126, that was Paul Lard. Alan Thomas trying to keep his feet dry. The next rider coming down the hill, Russell Tyner, 11:18 on the first stage yesterday, 11:07 this morning. Charlie Beach in the open sports class. I couldn't see that number. 142 in front. That would be Roger Dawson. 145. Arthur Laverty leading the 350 trail bike class. More of the services riders going through. That was Tudor Lewis. He did 11 minutes on stage 1 yesterday, 10 and a half minutes today, so he's improving. 131, Jane Murphy, our lady rider. She didn't break any records yesterday, but Jane finished the day. One of our other lady riders, Gail Lucas, had to retire with a bike problem. Trail rider Ted Scott. I thought he was going to stop then in the middle of the water. 146, now who is that? Oh, Gary Tanner. The traffic lights must have been on red again. Leading this bunch is number 147, Roger Sinclair. Into a deep puddle of water. 154 there, Gerald Tyners. And what was the next number? 60. 160 was David Lewis. He was 5th in his class yesterday. Graham Noyce in the open sports class. Now on stage 1 yesterday, his time 9:42. This morning it was 8 minutes 26. He must have flown around there. That looked like number 169, 161. Tom Clark, followed by Katrina. Katrina 3rd yesterday in her class, beaten only by Gwyn Barraclough and Sean Skinner.
6-6.
Phil Wilkinson. Andrew MacDonald, I still don't know what happened to him yesterday on the first stage. Haven't got a time, and it can't still be in the computer. Ian Saunders, I thought he was going to fall off then. Neil Arnold going well in the 350 sports bike class. John Taylor, I think he's got one of Graham Noyce's jackets on. John's going just a bit quicker today, certainly on the first stage. Is that number 27? Paul Carman, he's the leader in the 350 sports bike class. Paul, I see, is 12 seconds up on his nearest rival. That's Duncan MacDonald. 173 was Martin Birch, followed by Alan Woolger. And the third rider, Stephen Humphrey. John MacDonald, followed by Ron Willis. I didn't recognize the third one. Andy Baxter in the 350 sports class. Keith Bethel in the same class as Andy. I don't think Keith liked this stage yesterday. 4 minutes 48. 5. Rod White on the Husky 610. 177. I'm glad someone is reading the numbers. That was Ian Stevens. Oh, he's on the Can-Am, isn't he? I thought he lost his mudguard yesterday. 175, Mike Burke. 190, Paul Blezard, followed by, it looks like, oh, it's Phil Hodges. Don't worry, Phil. Gail is in safe hands. She's coming round with me today. Oh, perhaps I shouldn't have told him that. 193, John Shaw. 180. Kevin Moore doing a bit of paddling. Bill Forsyth, I don't think he liked it round here yesterday. Over 5 minutes. Oh, that was nice. He stops to splatter his teammate, Martin Wardle. 181, Andy Pulleen. Brian Burns on the CCM C26. Not many more to come through now. Chris Lee. Hello! He may have overdone it yesterday. He was a bit slower on stage 1 this morning. Gary Arouk in the 125s. Another bike coming. Oh, I wonder what class they're in. I think it was Geraint. And a lady rider on a Kawasaki. She's got an L plate on. I wonder, is she having a test? That was the first puddle of water on this stage, the only one we haven't seen a rider going through. In the distance, Chris Lee, Gail Lucas, and the chap pumping up his tyre, that's Roger Dawson.
Hey, changing tyres. Tubes.
Have you changed it or what?
Pardon?
Have you changed it?
I fixed it, yeah. Team members helped me out.
Oh, well done.
Aye. Just got to get going now, a bit late.
Oh, don't rush. It doesn't matter about that.
No, you're going nowhere. We'll take that anyway.
Hopefully finish today with a good result.
Of course you will.
It doesn't get dark till about 9 o'clock, but Roger wants to finish before then, otherwise he'll miss the buffet.
You weren't in my car, were you?
No, I was up by the mud hole.
Gail said she's been walking around this stage. I haven't seen her anywhere. Gary Arouk on his way to stage 2.
Get muddy.
You did get muddy?
Yeah, I had to wander up the track.
Yeah.
Saw Trina and Wilkie through, and Trudy and Phil and Chris.
It's time for us to move, and we're going in the direction of stage 3, but we've stopped off on the way. I want to see some of the riders crossing the River Severn. This should be interesting. That's Katrina making a lot of noise. 141, who was that? Oh, Roger Johnson. 4. I better keep moving, otherwise all these riders will be crossing the river before I get there. Graham Noyce, he's just finished stage 2 a few minutes ago. 130. That was Paul Hartley. And number 27, we saw him earlier. John MacDonald, the first rider we see crossing the River Severn, and he's being photographed by Mick Murphy. John Taylor, will he make a splash? It looks quite deep. I couldn't read the number, but we had a good view of the rider. Of course, I'm standing in the water at the moment. There's another rider coming. Rod White on the big Husky 610. Oh, he's going at speed. What a splash! A Kawasaki going through.
6.
Was it Alan Woolger?
173.
Martin Birch, he gives the bike a good wash. Andy Baxter, followed by Tom Wormsley. Keith Bethel, number 169. Ron Willis. Did you give him your telephone number?
Not quite.
I didn't come to this spot last year. If it was part of the course, and I think it was, I bet there was some water here then. That was Mike Burke. Bill Forsyth, followed by Ian Stevens. Mick must be getting through rolls of film. Andy Pulleen. And that's Kevin Moore. Now who's this chap? He looks quite official. It's not cold today, is it?
The water?
Yeah.
Colder than the day at large.
There's only one fella.
I'm disappointed for you.
I think he's another of these photographers.
Who's that?
Even Gail is taking pictures now. Malcolm Furber. Oh, and behind him, Phil Hodges. Get him quick, Gail. Phil might be disappointed. I don't think Gail got him in the water. Hello, Phil. We'll see you next time round, Phil. This is Paul Blazard. He might want that photograph for Trail Bike magazine. Chris Lee looking very refreshed. .188 Brian Burns. Gary O'Rourke, and I think the second one is a Marshall. Gary might have got his feet wet then. I hope that's not another photographer. Oh, here's my friend from yesterday. It's number 81, Graham Forwell. Doesn't look like him today, though. He may have got a substitute for today. I think that's in the rules. Mr. Cambrian Rally himself, Bob Perrin, and what on earth is he riding today? I have heard a rumour that he's had 1 or 2 problems with his Kawasaki.
He started the test, and that's where I left. The middle of that motocross test.
Gone through a few.
Wait a minute, this is good. It sounds as though Bob has passed someone today.
Well up.
He was behind me.
Well, he was behind me earlier on.
Oh, and they were both going in the same direction.
I mean, he's not doing it to compete. Neither. I mean, Richard's swapping bikes up this lap. He's on the
I think they want Bob to come through again. Richard Fincher, he's the male model for Bike Magazine, and yes, he's got to do it again. I'm sure Bob would step in for him any time. He'll do, well, almost anything for a cup of tea.
Richard,
You leave my assistant alone, will you?
I haven't touched her.
No, she's with me today.
Huh?
She's with me today.
Oh, God.
Get back on your bike, will you?
You didn't offer me a pillion ride, did you?
Gail wants a lift on Bob's Armstrong 500. I don't think that's a good idea. Now, can this chap start the bike? We'll cut that. Bob was telling us then how Brian Elland had pushed Gail back into the finish yesterday. I can't actually repeat his words. Well, not on this channel. This is an action replay. Oh, I think it was better than the first.
Well, wet. You want to do it again? No. Will that do you?
Only 2 photographs. I hope he's got some film in.
Hey, did you get my picture, mate?
Not bad.
Well, that's it from this first crossing of the River Severn. We're going to move upstream now. This is still the River Severn, and we're not too far from its source. It's about a mile from here. I thought I saw it last year, but I think I got a bit lost because it was raining so heavy then. And here's a look down the valley. In a few minutes, we'll see some of the riders coming through stage 3. The riders up there are on their way to the start of this stage. This stage is fire road from start to finish, and it's all uphill. Oh, this looks like one of the photographers. This stage would suit someone like Colin McRae. Here comes the first rider. Remember, the riders should come through in the right order. Number 1, Alex Marr, and just behind him, Steve Haig, and he's closing fast. This stage will suit Steve. He's on that KTM 640. Remember, this is a new stage for today, but the riders have ridden through here once this morning without being timed. Number 4, Andy Whitehead. I'm just trying to work out now what stages the riders are going through this weekend. Remember the first stage, that's the one we saw yesterday afternoon. Well, they've ridden that 3 times now. They've been timed 3 times there. And the second stage, which was the third one yesterday, the second today, they've also ridden 3 times. That's 6 time stages. The Rocky Road we saw this morning, they were timed on once yesterday. Oh, that was John Hall going through, followed by Sean Skinner, and he gets past on the concrete bridge. We've got up to 7 time stages. This one is 8, and I think it's also going to be timed on the last lap, so that'll be 9 stages. Gwyn Barraclough, number 13. On stage 1, he's been averaging about 9 minutes 23 seconds. The conditions are a bit dusty on this forest road. The next rider is number 15, Archie Henderson. His best lap on stage 1, 9 minutes 58. And behind Archie, number 14, Jeff Ward. I see he's in the over 50s. John Whiting, also in the over 50s, and he's been going well, averaging just over 10 minutes on stage 1. Michael Crane not speeding quite as much as some of the riders, and I don't blame him. That's Martin Wilkes. I'm not sure if he wasn't at the Epint Enduro. Raymond Highland in the 125s, also in the over 40s. The next rider should be Ian Ford, number 21. He's been averaging a bit over 11 minutes on the first stage. Alan Wibberley in the 350s. His stage 1 times 10:59, 10:41 and 10:49. Well, I got the first one wrong. It was 10:55. Mark Houston, he's been going well today. His second time on stage 1, 8 minutes 46. Richard Vickers, not quite as quick as Mark. Philip Sharp in the 350 sports class. He slowed a bit on his last time through stage 1, 11 minutes 27. He was doing around the 10 minutes 30. Remember, these riders are starting off at 20-second intervals. Steve Fletcher making up a bit of ground on Philip. John Brown, I thought he was in the T250, but it's the Sports 350 class. John was doing some good times. I think this is Kevin Marshall. 29. Someone out of sequence a little bit. It's number 12, Gavin Hogben, but he's going well. Number 30, Steve Eversfield. Jonathan Moore in the open sports class. That's a very big one. A Honda rider coming up the road. It's 32, Barry Pope. Barry was rather slow on stage 1 yesterday afternoon, 16 minutes. Now where's the next rider? He's quite a long way back. 34. Ian Jones. So where's number 33 got to? That's Duncan MacDonald. He's up there with the leaders in the 350 sports bike class. David Brown on the BMW. This should be the stage for him. Neil Davis. Ivan Vesey having a look over his shoulder. I think he could see that Stephen Preston was making up some ground. Stephen's been doing some good times, averaging well under 10 minutes on stage 1. It should be number 40 next. That's Stephen Tailforth. I got the first name wrong. It's Mark. And Richard Lang is closing. He's in the 250 trail class, and I think he's out in front there. Richard must be one of the serious riders this weekend. Roger Withington, number 43. And across the valley, the next rider. It's Frank Withington on a Yamaha 125, and he's putting it to sing out. Frank's doing some good times and second in his class at the moment, but I don't think he'll catch the leader, Trevor Petrie. Mark Roach in the Alvin team, and I think he's putting on the best performance there. We'll check on that when his team members come through. Nick Fishlock, the number 2 in the Alvin team. He's not quite as quick as Mark. Tony Finch also riding for Alvin and not quite on Mark's pace. Tony's in the T350s though, and he could be runner-up there at the moment. Graham Young on the BMW. I'm sure he could fly through here if he wanted to. What a machine. Trevor Petrie on that 125 and going every bit as fast as some of the bigger bikes. Oh, he missed the corner then. I think he's almost certain to win the class though. Mike Pollard riding a KLX 650. Neil Ashton, he's going well in the open sports class. He's up against some of the big CCMs. Graham Lawson on the Honda 400. That looks like another Honda over there. Was it this chap, Tony Allen?
Yeah.
Adrian Pope, he had one slow lap on stage 1, over 10 minutes. That was Peter Windsor, and who's the next one coming up the hill? If he's in the right order, it should be number 60, Martin Wareham. going a bit wide on the corner. We could do with a crash barrier over there. Roger Preston, he's in control. That's Mike Watkins. He should finish quite high up in his class. Alan Angold. I was standing over there a moment ago. There goes Ian Musgrove, and it looks as though he's leading the open sports class. Hugh Lacey, another rider who's going to finish well up the class. I couldn't make that one out. Brian Elland really moving up the field today. Yesterday he was at the bottom of his class because of that slow first stage, but now he's in the top 6. On stage 1 today, 8 minutes 42 and 8 minutes 49. I think it's time for the Glasgow Rangers. James Harley, I don't know how many's in this Glasgow Rangers team, but he's going well. Number 71, Gary Burns. Mark Simmons. Alan Walker with Graham Smith right on his back wheel. I thought Graham might have got past then. The Cheltenham Home Guard representative, Sam Wilson. Steve Venn. And here's Mark Kirby, the fastest man in the Home Guard today. Ian Bryceland in the 250 trail class. Norman Headley must have had a good night's rest last night. He's going quicker today. 84, Ian Arnold. He's a couple of places up on Norman. That's Philip Nottingham, and just behind him, Paul Bates making up some ground. Was that Stephen Sharp, number 87? Leslie Beach in the open sports class had a slow first stage this morning. Might have stayed too long at the disco. 89. Graham Grubb. Stephen Marsden on the XTZ and in about 5th place in the open trail bike class. Tony Hughes on the CCM 604. Jonathan Willis, he had a slow third time on stage 1, over 19 minutes. Martin Houghton on the CCM, and there should be a few more of them coming in a moment. The man himself, Austin Clues, he's got to be in the top 3 or 4 of the class, but it's all very close. Alistair Adamson, not quite as quick as Austin. Alistair's in the top 6 or 7 though. Robert Bentham on the CCM and over 50 seconds up on Alistair. Robert might have an extra gear. Now it's Nick Craigie. Didn't he ride in the Dakar Rally earlier this year? I would think this event fairly similar, except for a few sand dunes. Adrian Lappin in 2nd place in his class, a couple of fast times here, and he could beat Ian Musgrove. Vinnie Fitzsimmons leading the 350 sports class. He'll most probably win the day because this is the sort of stage where you don't make mistakes. Oh, what's happened down there? 105, that's Jimmy Aid. If he hadn't gone wrong yesterday on stage 1, he would have been well placed. Jimmy had just passed Andy Ibbott. Gary Hawthorne ought to finish in the top 10 of the sports bike class. Well, that's the open section. Lovely sound to some of these bikes. I think that's a Suzuki. Is it 108, Gary Rushton? Well done, Gary. Simon Horswell in the open trail class.
110.
The Irishman with a name I'm having difficulty saying. No, it's not Phil Gunn because there he goes. Phil, I think, is in the top 3 of his class. Craig Dodd. And that's Grenville. He's still leading by a few seconds. Neil Stittle looking quick. That's a nice shot of Neil Thompson. Steve Whitley in the Los Splendidos team. And Gareth Williams is there with him too in that team. We'll have to wait a moment. Here he comes. Ian Lynch, one of those lost cherries. Peter Housley, not quite as quick as Ian. Was that the third lost cherry? 125 is Chris Pierce. Oh, someone else coming. It's Paul Lard. The end of this stage is just at the top of the hill. 127. Now who was that? Oh, it's John Hughes. Alan Thomas in the 250 trail class. Charlie Beach, I think he's liking this stage. Ted Scott in the 250s and also in the over 50s. Kevin Thomas, I wonder what sort of speeds could he get up to on this stage. I hope he knows there's a chicane at the end. That rider looks quick. He's in the dust though. The riders, when they finish this stage, go back to the start area and then they do the full circuit once again. This is the only stage which they'll be timed on though, on the last lap. Richard Fair looking very impressive. Roger Johnson lying in second place in the 250s. That may have been Roger Dawson. 143 there. Owen Hill. I can't see too much in this dust. That was one of the army riders. Martin Smith, and I've missed a couple and my battery ran out. Tudor Lewis, I wonder does he prefer this event to Enduros? He rode in the Welsh, also at the Powys. That was Trevor Townsend.
153.
Ewan Kohler, he's going to be well placed in the 250s. 154, Gerald Tyres. Rod White up against some strong opposition in the open sports class. Andrew MacDonald. Ian Saunders, he's been going quicker today. That may have been a couple of marshals. We can read the numbers again. That's Mark Ensor. Was that Tom Clark? Neil Arnold on a Kawasaki KLX. Paul Carman, he was leading the 350 sports bike class overnight, but Vinnie Fitzsimmons has taken it up now. I think Vinnie might have been winning yesterday, but his results were in the wrong class. No number there. And I'm sorry about that, I think it's Graham Noyce. He's been going much quicker today. I missed that one. John Taylor, he's in the over 50s, might have a chance there. Ron Willis, he had a bit of a slow start yesterday, going better today though. Martin Birch on the Husaberg. 175. A nice view of Mike Burke from our overhead camera. Alan Woolger. Ian Stevens on the Can-Am, which was minus a back mudguard yesterday. Tom Walmsley, he should finish in the top 15 or so of his class. Just behind him, number 178, that's Malcolm Ferber. Kevin Moore, he had a slow first stage this morning, over 12 minutes, and he was going quicker than that yesterday. As you can see, we're not far from the end of the stage now. Was that 182? Chris Lee, number 184. He's going into a bit of a headwind. He'll have to look out because there goes Phil Hodges and he's in a hurry. Phil looks set to pass Chris. He just flies past him. Phil's time there will be a good 40 seconds up on Chris. That was Brian Burns. Paul Blezard, he's been fairly consistent all weekend. At last I've got to the end of this stage. I wonder has anyone timed me? What's my time, Elwyn?
32:05.
It sounded like about 50 minutes. 103 is Dave Cornish. It looks as though he's missed a few stages today. I've got no results for him on stages 1 and 2. That's Win Hughes, one of our marshals, and he's just rescuing a young lady who's been lost in the woods. I hope Katrina doesn't see this. If you're not back by 7 o'clock, Win, we'll come and look for you. Well, we've seen most of the action now on these time stages, although the riders will be coming through on stage 3 once again, and they are timed on this last lap. But I think we've seen enough of that stage for now. Here's Sean Skinner, and he needs another good time on that last stage, and he should win the trail bike class. That's one of the Baywatch rejects, Paul Bean. Alex Marr. Gwyn Barraclough, third in the open trail class. It's Katrina in front of him, and I don't think Gwyn can catch her. Straight from Baywatch, Paul Brown. Oh, he misses the corner completely. No wonder he's been rejected. Alan Parry on a Suzuki, which I think has been around for a bit. Alan was riding a DR200. The next rider coming up the road. Oh, it's number 15, Archie Henderson. Martin Gillard, number 7. It's quite a long way from stage 2 to stage 3. That's some of the going down there. It's rather dusty. Quite a nice view from here. It is a bit hazy though. John Perk, I think he's from Baywatch. Martin Wilkes, followed by Gavin Hogburn. Raymond Highland, he was 4th in the 125s overnight, and I think that's where he'll finish today. He's followed by Alan Wibberley. Mark Hooson, I'm not sure if he didn't ride at the Cambrian Rally, and that's his teammate, Richard Vickers. Number 28, John Brown. Ian Ford, I'm not sure what prizes the riders get this weekend. Do they get medals, I wonder? Kevin Marshall down the field quite a bit. He was on stage 2 yesterday for 24 minutes. That was the rocky road. Philip Sharp, I think he'll finish in the top half of the 350 sports class. 27. Was it Neil Davis? That was Jonathan Moore, and I think the rider in front of him was 27, Steve Fletcher. '14. 41 is Richard Lang. I think he'll win the 250 trail class. That's assuming he doesn't make any mistakes on that last stage. Was that number 3, or had he lost a number somewhere? Neil Davis, I've got it right this time. And who's the next one? It's 38, that's Ian Vesey. Mark Roach, he's going to be well placed in the sports class. Trevor Petrie, almost certain to win the 125s. I can hear some noise, but where's the bike? Number 44, I thought it was a 125. Frank Withington, he's going to be runner-up to Trevor in the 125s. David Brown, I think he ought to get a medal. '52 Mike Pollard, '53 Neil Ashton. Mark Tailforth and Duncan MacDonald. Peter Windsor, and is that 58 Adrian Pope? That's an interesting shot of Graham Young. Oh, the tyre wasn't big enough. Let's see if we can get it right this time. Oh, there's two together. One of those riders was Mike Watkins. Oh, the other one, Ian Musgrove. That was a Marshall, and here comes Brian Elland. If he hadn't had that trouble yesterday, he would have been up there with Sean Skinner. Now we've moved much closer to the start area, and these riders are coming in to finish the day. In number 2, Steve Haig. This is a farm road on land here which belongs to the Bennett Evans family. You may have caught a glimpse of Gail Lucas then. She's having lunch now, donuts. I'm not eating anything at the moment, but I am looking forward to the buffet this evening. Andy Whitehead, followed by Alex Marr. This is an interesting part of the countryside. It looks as though there's been some mining carried out here. I think there are some gold mines in Mid Wales. Is this number 8, Paul Brown? That one looked like an 8. Perhaps the first one was number 9. Martin Gillard and Alan Parry. Three Army riders, Sean Skinner, number 11, and he takes the top award this weekend. Number 13 is Gwyn Barraclough, he's third in the class. And number 12, that's Gavin Hogburn, and he's about 5th in his class. They have done well, haven't they? That was Archie Henderson. Jeff Ward, only about 100 yards or so from the finish. They're streaming in now. That looked like 26. Oh, and we've got some ladies over there. I think we better keep the camera on them. I heard some rumours about some funny goings on yesterday, and it could have been these ladies. Apparently, they were trying to distract some of the riders in the nicest possible way. Number 35, that's Duncan MacDonald. I told you we weren't far from the finish. Neil Davis. Ian Jones and David Brown coming in together. Ian is going to win the over 50s class. There's a representative here from Sky, but he's only filming the ladies. Oh, there goes Graham Young. Oh, and he was filming him as well.
Mine's in my pocket. Can you turn away a minute?
The ladies are waiting for some of the higher numbers to come in. Oh, and Gail Lucas is going to join them. I don't know why Gail has put her jacket on. It's not cold. That was number 62. I don't know what happened then. We missed it. There goes Ian Musgrove, the best sports bike rider this weekend. I was a bit disappointed. I thought he might have got a cheer from the ladies. I think that's number 68. Oh, and what happened then? I think we're missing something here. Let's forget about the bikes for a moment.
69, we've got. Is this him?
Here he is!
Oh, good gracious. Now I'll have to give this film an X rating.
Got it now. 20 now. I gather my...
We've got to have another shot. Apparently the ladies were doing this yesterday afternoon. It's a bit dangerous really. Some of these riders are over 50. They could get excited. Oh, I think this chap's come back for more. Is Sam Wilson going to get a surprise? Oh, I don't think he did. Oh dear, I think I'll have to move. My lens is getting steamed up. This is James Harley and he's coming back for a second helping. Well, we can only take in so much. And now we're at the finish. Number 88 there was Leslie Beach. 91, Stephen Marston. And just behind him, Tony Hughes. That's Austin Clues, the sponsor for this weekend. And I think he finishes third overall in the open sports class. Number 1, I think it is Graham Forwell this time. He was playing the substitute earlier. 94 there, Martin Houghton. Jonathan Willis, followed by Robert Benson. And 98, Alistair Adamson. Alistair is 7th in the class, Robert 5th. There are 5 CCMs in the top 7 places. Vinnie Fitzsimmons wins the 350 sports bike class. 100, Nick Craigie, he's in 6th place. Adrian Lappin, runner-up to Ian Musgrove, number 105, that's Jimmy Aid. If Jimmy hadn't got lost, he would have been there too. And this man, Brian Elland, would have given Sean Skinner a run for his money, but for that problem yesterday afternoon. 104, that's Andy Ibbott. 108, Gary Rushton. As these last few riders are coming in, I'll bring you up to date with the results. Ian Musgrove is the overall winner in the sports bike class. The winner of the over 40s, that was Graham Noyce. In the 350 class, Vinnie Fitzsimmons the winner from Paul Carman in 2nd place. Phil Gunn was 3rd. In the trail bike classes, Sean Skinner the winner, Katrina Price runner-up. Arthur Laverty won the 350s from Anthony Finch in 2nd place. The 250s was won by number 41, Richard Leng. Roger Johnson 2nd. And of course the 125s, that was won by Trevor Petrie. Oh, the ladies are still performing over there. And I recognize the photographer, so they could be in the Trail Bike magazine. Wait for it, wait for it. Here they go. Oh, that'll be a great photograph. Now they're in trouble. Some of the riders have stopped. Well, this is where we must finish the Hafren Rally. I think it's been a very enjoyable 2 days. I think most people have enjoyed coming here on the Saturday and having an afternoon and then a good day's riding on Sunday. If any of you riders have got any suggestions you'd like to make about the event, then get in touch with the organisers. They're quite happy to sort of put on anything you want, really. And don't forget, the same applies next year to the Cambrian Rally. It's Bob Perrin who's in charge there, and, well, Bob will certainly do anything you want. I think Bob may be planning to hold the rally over 2 days. Don't forget, before you go home, call back at Llanidloes for the buffet. It's always very good. Oh, and if anyone has found my umbrella, then please don't send it through the post. One last word, I do have a lot of videos if anyone wants to watch something new. The Cambrian Rally, the Welsh 2-Day, and many Enduro videos.